to Stuff Signing Off here, and this video is going to be another kind of like school story time video. I haven't done one of these in a very long time. I think the last one I did was like 6 months ago or something, and I also decided to do it now because I know that early summer is going to be coming very, very soon. I know also a lot of people are going to be getting out for summer break and all that stuff. I know some people who are off their spring break or either on their spring break now, but I know that summer is going to be coming very, very soon. I know a lot of people either have only like 1 or 2 or 3 months left and then they'll be on their summer break. So yeah, I decided to do that in honor of kind of like early summer. So yeah, okay. Some of these stories I can act out and some of them I'm not going to be able to. So that's going to have to happen because I don't have some of the props for some of them. And I'm also going to tell you guys what grades some of these happened in. So let's get into the first one, which I may be able to act out this one a little bit. And yeah, okay. So I'm going to tell you guys a bit of it and then I'm going to act out some of it. So yeah. Okay, so I've only been in 3 lockdowns in my entire life at school. The first one was either in kindergarten or first grade, which I definitely don't remember. There was another one that happened in 7th grade, and I did talk about that one in my last video, so I'll link it down below if you guys want to watch it, because that talks about the one that happened in 7th grade. And then there was another one that happened in sophomore year or 10th grade that I do vividly remember. So let's get into that one. Okay, so what I used to have to do is we used to have all these like different lunch bells. So lunch A would go to lunch after their 3rd bell, and then while we were having lunch, which was lunch B, so let me try to explain this to you guys. Okay, so lunch A would have their lunch after 3rd period. So after 3rd period, they would go to lunch, and us people who had B lunch would go to 4th period. So my 4th period was geometry, because in sophomore year you take geometry. So I was taking geometry, and everybody else that was A lunch was downstairs. So then what would happen is lunch A would leave, and then we would go in, if that makes any sense. So like they would leave to go to their 4th bell when the bell would ring, and then we would go downstairs and we would have our lunch. Okay, so something happened. I don't exactly know what it was, but I guess somebody either told somebody that they had something or something like that. And okay, so what actually happened was I guess somebody either told somebody they had like a weapon or something that could be considered as a weapon, and I guess they either told the teacher or something because they thought it was going to endanger people, or maybe the teacher found out or something like that. I'm not entirely sure exactly what happened, but we were coming downstairs. Everybody was coming downstairs from our 4th period for lunch because we were all ready to go downstairs. We had to go down these like 2 little flights of stairs to get down to the lunchroom. So we were going downstairs and we're going into the lunchroom, and then this like person, I think it was either like the principal or teacher, told us to go back upstairs. So this boy who was, I think he was in like 9th grade, he was like, come on guys, we gotta all go back upstairs. And some of us are very, very confused because we don't know why we're going back upstairs, because we're supposed to be going downstairs for lunch. So we all went back up the stairs. We all went back to our 4th bell classrooms, and we sat there kind of. The teacher was looking at us like, what is happening? And then we were all talking about it, and we realized it was actually a lockdown drill that we were actually not a lockdown drill, it was an actual lockdown that we were going in. We were going in a lockdown. And we were all talking about like what the possibilities would be if something happened, because we have this like little roof thing. So we have the classroom, and then there's like a bit of the roof, and then she said that if we had to, we would have to jump off of that. It's not very big, it's not very tall, it's not like how tall the school would be. That little thing, if you jumped off of it, you probably either break an arm or a leg, but it wouldn't kill you. So we were talking about the possibilities of what we have to do. Like, we have to go out the window and do all that stuff, or we'd have to just get outside somehow. Because sometimes in lockdowns, sometimes you actually have to bring the entire school outside. At times, I've seen that happen. So that's kind of like what it was. We were all sitting there. There were some people texting people who were already in the lunchroom to try to see what was happening. Some people said it was a knife that was found. Some people said it was a gun that was found. Nobody exactly knew what the actual weapon was. And then we actually figured out what it was at the end of the day. We figured out it was somebody had a airsoft gun that we didn't even know about. But yeah, somebody had an airsoft gun and they were, for some reason, had it. And yeah, but anytime a lockdown happens, they call your parents to tell you that there is a lockdown actually happening. So that's what happened. And yeah, I really don't know why somebody would bring that to school. I don't know what exactly happened to that person. I don't know if they got suspended or expelled. I never heard anything after that. But all I know is that since we missed some of our lunch, they had to extend our lunch bell, but they shortened our fifth bell. So, yeah, because in the sophomore year, I had like 7 bells. And yeah, so they had to kind of do that. But that was a very interesting experience because all of us are like, now we're missing our lunch, and what the heck is happening? Because I didn't even know what was happening either. A lot of us were very, very confused, like, who would bring something like that or why the heck, but they kept telling us to go back upstairs, and we did, and then we were allowed to go back downstairs when they told us we were. So that was good though, but it was kind of scary because, like, what if we had to actually go out the window and jump off the little roof thing? That would be terrible. So yeah, but at least it didn't have to go to that, and at least it wasn't somebody actually trying to, like, danger people. Because there was people in the lunchroom, because as I said, it was lunch A's lunch, and they were going to be going out of there soon. And the second story happened in the 8th grade in my reading class. My reading class was actually my second bell. So this one I'm actually going to be able to act out. Okay, so this was a lockdown drill. This was not an actual lockdown. It was a lockdown drill. And you know, in a lockdown drill where the teacher's supposed to go over and lock the door and then turn off the lights, and you're all supposed to kind of go to a corner of the room or a very dark part of the room. So we decided to go up in, like, we decided to go where the long part of the wall was. You know how there's like 2 classrooms and then they have a wall that separates them? We were over there by the whiteboard and stuff, so I'll kind of like show you guys what it would look like what was kind of like happening and stuff like that. So we were all like squished together. I don't think the teacher turned off the lights. I don't remember if she did or not, but we were all just like kind of like just sitting there. And then people started talking like so loudly. They started screaming and everything, and like they were being loud. Like, if this was an actual lockdown drill, we would have all died because of how loud they were being. They were like screaming and goofing off and like fighting each other and just talking. Like, I mean, you can, in a lockdown drill, you usually wouldn't talk. You would be very, very quiet, or you would whisper. And these people were like yelling, like actually yelling. And me and this other boy that was like actually my friend in there, we were like the most quietest people. We were not saying nothing. We were not talking. We were literally just sitting there being the most quietest people in the world. Okay, so we had this superintendent in the middle school. She was a woman, and she did not like what was happening. She could hear us. She told us that she could hear us down the hall. Down the hall, which is really, really bad if she can hear you down the hall. So she bursted in the door, like she opened the door. She looked at all of us and she's like, "You guys are literally being so loud. I can hear you down the hall. Why the heck are you all screaming? This is a lockdown drill. You all are supposed to be quiet. Why are you all screaming your heads off? There is no there's just no reason for that. Like, she was being so rude about it, and also, I understand why she was being rude about it. But do you realize when other people are doing something, the teacher always blames everybody for it, when in reality, it's only like a few people, and then there's like me and this other person back here who were not talking at all. We were silent because we know what a lockdown drill is. You're silent in there while the rest of them were screaming our heads off. And yeah, but she was not happy, and there was nothing we could have done about it. The teacher even told us to like hush, but they weren't listening because apparently they would never listen to a teacher for some reason. Okay, so the third and last story actually happened in the 7th grade. Yeah, a lot of my stories happened in the 7th grade for some reason, but this one was actually a very bad one that happened, and yeah. Okay, and this is also kind of like the title of this video. Somebody pulled the fire alarm. They did. They actually pulled the fire alarm. There was no fire drill. They actually pulled the fire alarm. Okay, so what happened was we were all in gym. This was kind of like, we would have these times where we would go into gym if we couldn't go outside for recess. So we would have times where we would go in the gym. Or also there was also like different times we would go into the gym as well if we didn't have like indoor recess. But I think this was around the time that we were having indoor recess, and we were all playing, we were all like talking and stuff, and some of us were up in the bleachers. You were allowed to be either in the bleachers if you weren't playing any like basketball or any games that you can play. Like, some people were playing basketball, some people were playing football, some people were doing other different activities, but if you weren't on the floor doing any of that, you could go up in the bleachers and you could talk to your friends or do whatever. So I had my LPS with me, and I was playing LPSs with my friends. So that's what we were doing. And we have we have 2 fire alarms in the gymnasium. We have one that's close to the doors, and then we have that actually go into the hallway. And then we have another one that is actually right by the stairs. There is 2 stairs. There's one on the left side and one on the right side, and the fire alarm was on the left side, and that was where it was. It didn't have a case or anything over. I guess they never expected anybody to pull it, I guess. But I know that back in the day, there was a way to tell when people would, like, pull a fire alarm. They said, like, when people would pull a fire alarm, they would have, like, this blue coating or whatever on their fingers. Well, they don't do that anymore, and somebody pulled the fire alarm. We don't actually know, like, how it happened. I don't know if somebody dared somebody to do it. I don't know if they just pulled it to see what would happen. We're not entirely sure what happened because I don't remember, but they never said if they like pulled it just to pull it, or if they did it just to see like a reaction, or if somebody dared them to do it, because you can't see anybody over there unless you're like actually looking. So they didn't know what happened. And then you just hear the fire alarm go off. And then we all just like, rush outside. We get outside. We get into our lines. That's pretty much what we do. That's what we did. We all got in our lines. Everybody in the school was coming out. Everybody was so confused. And okay, you guys know in a fire drill when you all just like line up, but there's nothing else out there. Well, when we all got out there, there was a fire truck, a ambulance, and I think, there was fire trucks, ambulance, and police cars. That was not supposed to happen. Whenever you actually pull a fire alarm, it alerts, like let's say if you ever pull a fire alarm at school, it alerts everything. It alerts the firefighters. It alerts the police department. It alerts the ambulances. It alerts everybody. It alerts them to come over to the school because something happened. Well, they all came over. It was a false alarm. They all came over. You could see them because we were all very confused because we're like, why is there police cars, an ambulance, and a fire truck? They were all there. And we're all just looking at each other like, what happened? Like, we don't even know what happened. And then the principal had to talk to the fire department and the people in the ambulance and the police that it was just a false alarm and something happened. Because even the teachers were like confused because like we were not supposed to have a fire drill today because usually they would alert the teachers, give them like an email that says like we're going to do a fire drill today. Well, there was no indication of a fire drill that day. And then when we all got into the like after the fire drill and everything, or after the pulling the fire alarm thing happened, we all went back into the gymnasium. All of us, like 7th graders, went back into the gymnasium. And this is what happened. When we got back into the gymnasium, they told us all to sit down on the floor, and we all sat down. And then the teachers stood up and were looking at us. And I don't exactly remember which teachers they were, but they were looking at us, and they were like, okay, which one of you pulled the fire alarm? Which one of you did this? Come on, own up to it. If you don't own up to it, we're going to find out. You're going to be punished for whatever you did. Somebody own up to it. Who pulled the fire alarm? I know none of you are going to tell me now, but if you see anybody pull it, you better tell us who did it because you're going to also be an accomplice too if you're not going to tell us who did it. This is very, very horrible to have happened. You literally made the fire department, the police department, and everything else come out for no reason. It is very disappointing that this happened. Very disappointed in all of you. We might never let you guys back down here again. You literally just broke what we thought you guys would never do. You guys are 7th graders. Why the heck would you pull a fire alarm? Which one of you did it? If you guys don't own up to it, we'll figure it out eventually. We'll figure out who did it. And there will be severe consequences for you. Well, come on, guys. Line back up and we're going back to our classrooms. Very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in all of you as well. Come on. Same here. Very. Okay, so some of what they said was actually over-exaggerated, but they did say that they were very disappointed in us and that we would possibly never be able to go back down to the gymnasium ever again like that. But there is one good thing that did come out from all of this. The next day, the person who did do it actually did admit to it. So they admitted that they did it. I never actually figured out who it was. Either somebody told me or asked somebody, and they said the person who did it actually admitted to it. But I never figured out like who it was or why they did it. But I'm glad at least that they did admit to it because it's really bad if the fire department and the police department have to come over for a false alarm because there could have been like a real alarm somewhere else, like a real emergency, and they couldn't get to it because they were stuck with us people who had the 7th grader that pulled a fire alarm. And also, please learn from this experience that you never pull a fire alarm. Don't even pull a fire alarm if your friend dares you to or if you think it's funny. It's not, and it is an actual crime. You can actually get arrested for it. I'm pretty sure that person who did it probably got a lot of severe consequences from that because you could actually get arrested if you do that. But here is some good news. The next year that I went back, I actually saw that they put one of those like clear cases over it. So you could not pull it if you wanted to. They had like a key lock or something that locked it. And that's good so nobody else can pull the fire alarm and have like a false alarm again. So yeah, that is pretty much all for this video. I hope you guys liked this video of some more like school stories. If you guys would like me to do any more of these, please put it down in the comment section below and I will definitely do more of these if I can think of any more. I really enjoy doing these. And yeah, so if you guys have any like school stories that you would like to say, you guys can definitely do that. They can be embarrassing, they can be like different school stories. If you guys have ever been in an actual lockdown, you guys can tell me that too. I am going to link the video that I said that I was in a lockdown in the 7th grade. I'm going to link that down below if I remember. Let's hope I remember. But yeah, that is all for this video, and I will see your werewolves in the next video. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and do the werewolf pack, because it is amazing here. And I will see your werewolves in the next video. Stay strong, werewolves. Arrgh!